Good morning, everybody. I'm a little late today to start, but you know, it is what it is. And so, anyway, so we'll start with a little bit of breathing. Let's get down on the ground and start with our breathing and give ourselves. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, my bad. We do our baseline first. I know. Why didn't you guys keep up with me? When I'm here by myself, I have my own thing. Now I blame you. So go ahead and do a baseline move, whatever that is for yourself. Maybe it's a squat. Maybe your hands are on the ground. Maybe it's a forward fold and you're just kind of noticing all the creaks and cracks. Maybe it's just simply a turn your head to the right, turn your head to the left, and just kind of feel how your body's moving today. We're going to be doing some combination moves and some traveling moves a little bit today. So notice how you feel, just even standing there. Close your eyes even for a moment and notice, just kind of like when we do melt, you just kind of feel the balance of your weight. Remember, you actually can be in tune with what's going on in the inside of your body, even if you want to like be subjected to it or try to reflect from the things and demands of the inside of your body. But you can also listen. And most of this type of movement is known as self-care, because self-care is not just going on a massage, being selfish, but, you know, not like being massage is selfish, but doing only things that you think are selfish for yourself, but that are self-oriented. Going on a walk can be self-care. Just sitting and being calm can be self-care. So allow yourself opportunities and moments to give yourself some self-care. Good. Just listen to how your body feels standing there. Notice if your glutes, quads, hamstrings are just real tight, or if you feel like you can kind of just stand there. Go ahead and open your eyes, and let's come down to the ground. And hello, and either hello for now. Make sure you guys, if you're watching, make sure you guys do your baseline move first. And let's come all the way to the ground, laying all the way back. And this isn't great video watching me lay on the ground, but it's a great movement for you to do on the ground. So anyway, laying back on the ground, arms out wide, steps in my head, and just find that place where you just kind of lay quietly. You can bring your hands to your belly, and then let's just breathe in and out through the nose. Keep that tongue at the roof of the mouth. And just feel the rib cage expand. Feel the back soften. Feel the shoulders drop back. So we have two systems that we work with in our body. We have a parasympathetic and a sympathetic nervous system. And we tend to be in the sympathetic most of the day. And that's kind of on track, focused. It can also be known as the fight or flight mechanism of the body. And we also have parasympathetic nervous system that works to rest and digest and to soften. And it's not that we need to be in all of one or in all of the other, but it's finding that balance between the two, finding that linking to create evenness, so we're not always on edge. And even notice when you get there and see if you can turn that around. The breath is probably the most powerful tool we have at our own disposal. It can speak words of wisdom, that breath exhaling. It can also restrain and kind of tighten, jaw stiffening. It can bring stress or release. So allow that breath to be an advocate for your movement and help to learn to respond and give ease into the body, but strength where needed. Begin with a head nod. Go ahead and slide your feet in so your shins are vertical. Let your head sink back and just draw the chin to your chest and lower back. Sink your chin in, look towards your navel with your eyes, pick your head up and look towards your chest and lower back. You can pick your head up if that's uncomfortable, and if you'd like to help, you can also pick your head up with your hand, or you can just nod your head if picking your head up is bothersome, because there's no reason to move where pain is. Your body knows that you're moving into pain well before you go there, and it'll resist and make the pain either more exaggerated or it'll stiffen other areas of the body up and you won't be able to stay in a calm state. Draw that chin in, only pick up the head to a place that's comfortable. Look back towards your eyebrows, down towards your chin, and up. Remember, movement is not about what somebody else can do, what you could do yesterday. Movement is about where you're starting right when you're moving and allowing yourself to stay focused within that. 2 more times. And last one. Arms out if it's comfortable towards you, and look to your right shoulder, eyes center, and look to your left shoulder. Again, you're looking to have your eyes move first, then your head follow. So whether you're on your back right now, or whether you're on your stomach, standing, or wherever you're at, you can always do a head movement. You can do this as a reset to reset the body in rotation. So if you're having a stiffening back, move your head and see if that helps. If you're having stiffened shoulders or even ankles, start with your breath, then start with your head nods and head turns. And whether you head nod or head turn first, it's up to you. I just tend to do head nods first. They tend to be easier for people. 1 more time to each side. Good. And then just take your arms up a little bit wider, or as it's comfortable. Pick up your head and take your right arm across the midline of your body and then back down. And then the left arm across the midline of your body and down. Pick your head up and reach, and down. Pick your head up. Look across the body and down. Pick your head up and look across the body. Reach. 2 more. And reach. And down. Breathing. Now you're going to do your legs. So just leave your arms where they're at comfortably, so they're not hanging in space. Just drop them down. Bring your right knee across your body and roll. Bring your left knee across your body and roll. Breathing. And you can extend that knee out if you want, or you can just take the knee and roll. Remember, again, especially with rotation, you want to be about and moving with your breath. You're not trying to restrain yourself or stiffen too much, but you are trying to notice where you're moving from. So again, you're not trying to over-rotate. This is not about getting big. This is about a precursor to walking, which is our most significant move. Basically, we're the only animals in the animal kingdom that can actually walk. Of course, you can train an elephant to be on 2 feet. You can train a bear, seal, to kind of look walking like, but they actually aren't designed for walking on 2 feet. Good. Go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Just begin to stir your knees in a circle. So if you aren't comfortable being on your back and you are on your front, of course, you're just doing a knees kind of rocking position, but you're doing circles around your knees from all fours position. And then pull your knees into your chest and release. Pull your knees into your chest and release. Draw in and release. Breathing. Do about 4 more. Pull those knees in and release. And last one. Pull those knees in and release. Good. Go ahead and drop one foot, then the other to the ground. Shift your weight over. Bring yourself up. Good. And I'm going to change the position of this camera just a little bit, which also means I'm going to change the direction that it's filming from, because I think it's the better camera. Good. Go ahead and recheck your baseline. You can hear me, but you can't see me. It's the magic of TV or Facebook Live. Good. Go ahead and recheck that baseline. See how you're doing. Notice if, and you can, that baseline could just be standing there. Notice where your balance is. Your baseline could have been a squat. Nice and low. Weight back into your hips. It could have been a forward fold. Sometimes people are out of control. Better is better. Is better is chocolate good? Yes. You better say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Is a little bit more chocolate better?
Yes.
Yeah.
didn't think about that.
Yeah. No, a little more chocolate's worse.
Yeah.
Then don't eat chocolate because you don't appreciate it enough. All right, let's come back. Sorry, you had to see that. All right, come onto the ground, hands and knees. If you want more cushion, make your mat, fold your mat in some way where there's more cushion for you. Hands and knees just begin to rock back and forth. So what I want you to notice, I want you to focus in on is I want you to first focus in on those feet back there. I want you to really notice if your feet are lined up or if there's one in and one out. It doesn't so much matter how your feet are, it's just that you do it intentionally and you do it kind of on purpose. So make sure you line those feet up as you can so that you aren't just kind of putting them somewhere, but your hands and feet make a huge difference as to where you put them. And then, so if your toes are curled under, flatten them out. If your toes were flattened out, curl them under. Breathing. And this knees rocking, why do I do it all the time? Why do I like it? Partly because it works, so you kind of repeat the things that work. But the idea of this is that it is squatting. It's this long and elongating movement of the spine. So we're going to take this knees rocking to a forearm rocking. And again, you can change the position of your feet. Just be specific. And allow those shoulders to move forward and back. Breathing. Good. And then now we're going to alternate. So every time you move back, you'll change the position. You got knees rocking on your hands, knees rocking on your forearms. Now, I'm talking through this obviously the entire time, and partly because it would just be odd if I didn't, but I'm talking through it. Ideally, you have your tongue at the roof of your mouth and you are breathing through your nose. And you're only going as quick as you can maintain that kind of movement. If all of a sudden your mouth pops open, if you feel like you're kind of getting stuck or there's pain, you probably are moving too fast, going through too big of a range of motion, or just clearly not paying attention to that your body's giving you signals to stop. So your breath will stop working through your nose. Now you're going to come back up and we're going to go to rolls around the shoulder. So think of the movement as coming from the navel and around. You're not necessarily rolling just from your shoulders, but there's a pen or a pencil attached to your belly button and it's drawing a circle on the ground. Breathing. And then let's go the other direction, circle around, keeping that head and chest up. Good. And then we're going to come back into all fours again. Take one hand behind the back and then shift forward and back. So you can start noticing how rocking actually even affects your core. So even when you're doing it with two hands, your core has to engage as you go slightly forward. But now doing it with one hand, you can see how your body has to stabilize itself. You shouldn't have to squeeze or contract your glutes or your core tight to stabilize. That's the body's job. But do try to keep your toes on the ground. That'll help stabilize you. Good, and then let's switch to the other hand. Keep that head and chest up. So this extension that we work for is about length, and length is where strength is. So when we just get into a forward fold and just round the back and or just work on our flexion like in cat position, it's great and it feels really good to get in there, but it's not where our strength is. Our strength is in our extension. Our strength is in our length. Very rarely would you see an army full of people slouching and think that's a strong army. If they walked through a city and all slumped over, you would be, that's a dejected army. That's a sad looking army. But when the army walks through and it's strong and tall and focused, that's a stronger looking army. So think of the same thing added to yourself. Bringing both hands together and knees together. Let's go to what is called a skier Bring your right hand back with your left leg. Reach, pause at your end points. So as you extend the arm back, the leg fully extends. Even extend to the point of kind of flexing and pointing. You can feel that heel touch an invisible wall behind you. Now you're not trying to reach back. You want to still try to keep your hip over your knee. And you don't want to reach forward. You want your shoulder over and slightly even maybe behind your wrist. So you're not over compressing that wrist joint. A couple more. Last ones. Good, and then let's roll up and recheck our baseline again. So every couple moves, it's nice to check a baseline. You don't have to. You can go an entire series of movements and not check, and just check at the beginning and the end. So forward fold, just standing here. And that feels much better. Like my body's actually doing what it should do, is just stand there and stabilize without me having to think about it too much. Good. So what I want you to do is get on the ground again. Again, if you need more mat, get more mat. If you want to bend your mat in half, because we're going to do a little crawling. This mat isn't particularly necessarily that thick, but it just gives me a place to move so I can have the mat underneath it be a little bit more thick too. So when we travel, it just puts more pressure on because you're loading and deloading the arms and legs. So begin with a side travel. Now you can crawl. So I'm trying to keep my hands lined up with the top edge of my mat and my knees. I can feel underneath me the back edge of the mat, so I don't end up with my hands and my knees real close. And really the only reason for that is so you're not all jammed up. You want to find length because you don't want to get, again, you want to get out of this flexion and into extension. And you're just going about 4 more times there and back. Side crawling is a great way to reconnect the shoulder and the hip and to get out of kind of overusing one part of the body. We tend to use one side more specifically, like your right hand and your left leg, or your left leg and your right arm or something. So use your eyes also. Let your head turn to the direction that you're traveling, or even to really play a trick on yourself, look in the opposition to the way you're traveling. Good. 1 or 2 more times. Good. And then pause. I want you to just curl your toes in and rock back onto the ball of your feet as best you can. Widen out your feet. If your feet are too close, you're going to have a hard time moving. And then rock back in and come into all fours or drop your hips in even. Rock yourself back and roll back, and then roll yourself forward. So it's kind of an upright rolling like a ball, and then rock back. And then if you're on your mat the short way, I'm going to encourage you to turn the long way, and so that you can rock back and move towards the top of your mat a little bit and rock back, because I want you to try to roll onto your back and then come back up. Yeah, check out your distance, guys, because the end of the mat comes quick. So drop into your knees, push yourself back, trust, and then roll yourself back. Then just push yourself back up. And if it takes more than one push up or something, just drop into your butt and let your legs swing. I guarantee you gravity will take you down.
Yeah, it's hard.
To let yourself do it. Yeah. And then come up as best you can. Now, if you're doing it and it's difficult and you're having a hard time, drop into your right hand, right hip, and then just roll. And then rock yourself up any way you can, and then do it again. Drop into your left hand and your left hip and roll. But I promise you, if you just let yourself do it, your body will roll. Let your arms come out in front of you. Let your knees widen. Drop your butt. There you go. You did it. Drop your butt. One more time. Come all the way up. And then drop your butt. Let's stay on our back. And if you can, continue to roll. Now, if rolling's not available to you, I want you to stay on your back, hold back, and bring your knees into your chest as much as you can, almost like a roll, or just kind of roll smaller. There's always a way. There's never can't. There just really isn't. There's can't right now, maybe, but there's never forever, unless you don't have the limb or the life. There's never just a no. There's an option. And then roll yourself so you're all the way back, and then hold arms out wide to almost to a T. Drop your knees to the right and to the left. So we're moving around the body. It's important to not just move in one pattern. Our walking pattern is really just a forward moving pattern, and it doesn't take into account a lot of rotation. It doesn't take into account crossing the midline of the body very much. I mean, there's a slight rotation in walking, but for the most part, people walk pretty stiff with very little arm swing. Not that you should have a wild arm swing all the time, but every now and again, go wild. And just slowly begin to bring your knees further towards the ground. All the way over. Notice what's happening in your opposite shoulder. Does your opposite shoulder just want to tip with you? It's almost coming off the ground. Turn your palms up towards the sky so your hands aren't bracing, because you don't want your shoulders rolled in. Again, think of how the body is. If your shoulders were rolled in and tucked in towards the front of your body all the time, you would look like you're shrugging your shoulders, or you were very sad. And you don't want to have a sad looking body. You want a smart, strong, stable. All those words are really more effective into kind of getting our mind around how our body should actually feel and how we should feel within our own body. Good. Go ahead and pause on one side. So both legs are to one side. See if you can kind of square your shoulders to your legs. So you may need to push into the back of your upper arms, lift your back up. So you're in kind of a full rotation here. And then just bend and straighten the top knee, just like you're kicking out. So if you were sitting like over a pier and your feet, a short pier, not a tall pier, and you were just kicking your leg, one leg in and out, this is kind of fun. And it's a little stretchy for that upper hip, and it should feel pretty nice. If it doesn't, then don't do it. Good, go ahead and pause. And just sit there for a second in this nice rotation. Taking a deep breath, feel the rib cage open up. And release the breath. Good. As you can, though, instead of just whipping the knees up, because we're now kind of been in a movement for a period of time, go slowly, bring the left knee into the chest. Then as the weight of the body drops over, then the right knee will come up. Drop the feet to the ground gently. Shift the weight kind of more to center, so that you really realign yourself. So we're not twisting from an opposite twisted position. So then bring the knees into the chest. Let's rock from side to side a little bit first. So we go backwards a little bit. I know you just did this. And then slowly make the movement a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger. And then we're going to stop on the left side this time. Go ahead and pause all the way to your left. Again, push into the upper arms and let the back square up with the legs so that the midline of the body is almost perpendicular to the thighs. And then if you want to even exaggerate it more, really get that left hip underneath you so your hip is stacked over your other hip. breathing, and you really will see that rotation there. Now, you don't want to force this. Your body will soften into it as best it can, and then just bend and straighten that top knee. And just feel as you extend that leg away from center, move a little bit, just because I've got this step. I didn't adjust every position very well. Good. Just bend and straighten that right leg, the top leg. If it's your left leg, that's fine too. And just feel the weight, especially as your leg extends, the kind of the pull on the outer part of the thigh. Good. And then go ahead and pause. And then again, bring the right knee into the chest gently and slowly. Let the body roll onto the back. Drop the right foot. Now you're on your back again. And just let yourself settle into the position. Again, especially when you hold a static position or a held position. So like in yoga, we either do flow type movements where one movement leads into the other, or we hold postures. But after you hold a posture, you want to wait just for a second, because you want to let the body to come out of the posture and not still be in it in a sense. So bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug, rock yourself either side to side to bring yourself up, or rock yourself all the way up forward. Let's go ahead and come to a stand again, and then recheck your baseline. And again, mine was like a forward fold. I also did a squat. Drop in. Ooh, that felt good. And then come back up. And then for me, I just also did a standing posture. Just feeling that balance across my feet and my shoulders. It just feels more grounded. So, better, same, different?
Much better.
Good.
Better.
Better! Woohoo! Fantastic. Now that's the answer I want. And fake it. No, just kidding.
Fake it till you make it.
Anyways, we're done today, guys. I hope you have a fantastic day. Have a wonderful weekend. We have Super Stretch tomorrow. I oftentimes don't know whether I'm in the camera or not. Super Stretch tomorrow at 8:45. We'll be out here again under the tree if you want to come in person, or if you are available to just come online or watch the replay later on. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.